Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The Hurricane Watch Team is here with an update on Storm Éowyn. So we're going to talk about the warnings, the timing, and how to prepare for the storm. So currently, today, there are no watches or warnings for Ireland. Tomorrow is really when we're going to start to see some of the warnings start to take place. As you can see, will be rain warnings, heavy rain leading to localized flooding. And that will start at 2100 Thursday, the 23rd of January 2025 to 3 o'clock Friday, the 24th of January 2025. And then we also have some marine warnings around Ireland as well. So we have these small craft advisories for all coasts of Ireland. And then we also have these gale warnings because we will be seeing some southerly winds veering westerly, which occasionally will reach gale force 8 on all coastal waters of the Irish Sea. And then we, again, southeast winds will reach gale force 8 or strong gale force 9 on all Irish coastal waters on the Irish Sea. And so that's kind of what we're looking at for tomorrow. Again, today there are no watches or warnings or anything. Tomorrow it's mainly just things dealing with wind around the coast of Ireland, and then some heavy rain is possible for the Cork, Kerry, Waterford for Ireland. Now the 24th of January, that's when we're really going to see the biggest impacts when it comes with this storm. So we're going to talk a little bit about the impacts against Storm Éowyn. We're going to be seeing those gale force winds. The southerly winds are going to become strong westerly and will bring severe damage and extremely disruptive gusts in excess of 130 kilometers per hour. So, what are we dealing with in terms of impacts? We're going to be seeing there's going to be a huge danger to life, so being out on the roads won't be safe. There will not be safe working conditions. There will be disruptions or cancellations to transport. Most likely there will be major delays, if not complete cancellations, of flights in this area. And there will even could be some trees that could fall over. There will be widespread power outages. There will be impacts to communication networks, cancellations, structural damage, wave overtopping, very similar to some storm surges that we see here in the United States dealing with hurricanes. So the wind blows the water on shore and it pushes it onto the land, which does lead to storm surge, also known as saltwater flooding. And then again, coastal flooding in low-lying and exposed areas. So again, this is valid from 2 o'clock Friday, the 24th of January 2025 to 10 o'clock Friday, the 21st of January 2025. So again, it is a red wind warning for Clare Galway. And again, it is expected for Storm Éowyn, gale to storm force southerly winds will become westerly as the storm moves. The winds will change, will bring severe damage and extremely disruptive gusts, winds in excess, so up to stronger than 130 kilometers per hour. And again, it's the same general idea. This is for Clare Galway. I'm not exactly sure exactly which one this is, but people who live in this area would know. And again, a majority of all of the areas for this storm are all really going to see similar impacts. Now, explaining the warnings is going to be a little bit different. So if you're under a yellow, it's not going to be completely unusual, but there will be localized danger for that area. If you're under an orange warning, no, it won't be. It's not very frequent weather. There's danger. There's pretty dangerous, and it is fairly disruptive. Now, red, which we're going to see very, very widespread across a majority of Ireland, though it be very, very rare, extremely dangerous, very disruptive, which is what we see widespread across a majority of all of Ireland here. Again, tomorrow, just really in the yellow, not a whole lot going on, but mainly we're going to be looking at some heavy rain leading to localized flooding. And again, today, there are no watches, no warnings, no alerts, no nothing. Just going to go as usual. Nothing unusual happening right now. The Friday is what I'm most likely worried about. I do want to take a look at what they're saying about this, so that it has been named. I am just curious about what what the UK Met Office is saying. Again, it is pronounced Éowyn. Again, these are the impacts that we could see from it. Again, dangerous travel conditions, displaced objects, fallen trees, widespread power outages I'm expecting. Poor visibility and any sleet or snow is possible. Somewhat blizzard-like conditions indicate that there is sleet or snow. There'll be flooding, as the ground will be very saturated across the entire country with this storm. Localized rivers will fill up quickly and overflow. In the view of the rainfall totals expected over the weekend, and again we'll be looking at high seas, water overtopping at high tide due to strong and onshore winds. Now I do want to look at the map here. As you can see here, as we do move, and we do kind of see these winds coming in from the south down here and to the southwest, moving right into this portion of southwestern Ireland, pushing that wind and also pushing that water right, especially when we start to see this kind of push right into these little gullies right here, could really cause some of that water to rise upwards, which could certainly cause some serious travel issues and some damage along the coast specifically. So there will be gusty winds. I do think the majority of the strongest winds will be right along the immediate coastline, but I believe across the entire country we will see pretty strong winds. Let me just change this to, I'm going to change this to kilometers an hour. It'll be easier for people to understand. So again, offshore, we're seeing 150, 160 kilometers per hour here. But again, along the coastline, immediate coastline, we could be seeing 80, 100 kilometers per hour are possible. But a majority 80 kilometers an hour or stronger, 100 kilometers an hour or stronger is possible. But we are seeing some pretty strong wind gusts pretty much across the entire country. As you can see, as this moves, it moves farther to the north. Again, we are still seeing 60 to 70 kilometer an hour winds, even into portions of Northern Ireland and Northern Ireland. And then this will move over and affect England, the United Kingdom, England, as well as Scotland there to the north. Now, precipitation-wise, what are we going to be looking at in terms of precipitation? We already know there's going to be a lot of wind. It's going to be gusty. There's going to be power outages. But what are we looking at in terms of precipitation? Rain accumulation, flooding, stuff like that. Probably not going to do good with inches. They use centimeters, I believe, there. Well, we got millimeters. They use centimeters for snow, I guess. So depending on how much rain or snow we're going to be seeing here. It's Friday, right? Because it comes in Friday, right? Hold on. Yeah, Friday, January 24th. 24th January 2025. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like it brings in a whole lot of moisture. Actually, it might be. Actually, no, because this is my time. So it's going to be something more like this. Yeah, that's the storm right there. So, as you can see, from portions of Western Ireland, 25 millimeters of rain. Let's see. And then it goes down. So it does not look like there's going to be a huge amount of rain, but upwards of around 25 millimeters is certainly possible. Is likely, especially of course portions of Western Ireland. All right. So looking at the waves, how big could these waves be? What are we looking at with these waves here, right? 17 feet. I know that was right along the coastline. They're at a 12-foot wave, so these waves are certainly going to be really big. And then they're only going to get bigger as the storm gets closer. So even right there, we're talking upwards of 20 to 30-foot waves right there. Now this is just one of the models right there along the immediate coastline. So particularly right in this southwestern area is really where we could see some of those biggest waves. And those waves continue to push farther and all the way even into the bay there. We're talking over 10-foot waves. So those waves are pretty big. And it kind of just sort of hovers here throughout a majority of the day. And even going into Saturday, the waves still remain pretty big off the coast, over 10-foot waves. And then there's another storm that this is so far down the line we don't even really know yet, because we still have to kind of look at it, wait for it to happen, look at models, and come up with some sort of a prediction that is more accurate. But with this storm, there's going to be some pretty big waves with it, and that's also going to be something that we're going to look at. And they include that here in their advisory here: wave overtopping, coastal flooding, and low-lying and exposed areas. Coastal flooding, I'm more particularly concerned in regards to what we could be seeing with those waves causing some sort of storm-like surge, pushing the water into the coastline. So these are all the weather warnings. We do have some orange over here, which I can explain that to you. And again, storm Éowyn, gale force southerly winds, again becoming more westerly, which will bring those damaging winds and destructive gusts upwards of 130 kilometers per hour, with even higher gusts from time to time. And again, when you're going to be dealing with these impacts, fallen trees, damage to power lines, structural damage, very difficult traveling conditions. If you do not have to travel and you have the ability, stay home, hunker down, and just be prepared. All right. What can you do to prepare for a storm like this? I was gonna try to actually just get the entire. There's so much to explain here, like wind speeds, coastal warnings, rain, snow and ice. I mean, 30 centimeters. Oh my goodness. Low temperature, high temperature, fog or freezing. There's so much here that they have. It's actually really interesting. Okay, I just want. Okay, this is fine. So what can you really do to prepare for the storm? Just have a plan in place, hunker down, get all the necessities that you need. Be ready to lose power. It will probably be pretty cold. If you do lose power, have a way to stay warm. Gas heaters are good, but don't use anything like don't use a generator that is too close to the house, because that can cause carbon monoxide poisoning. Definitely don't use any of those propane stoves inside the house, because they do release carbon monoxide, and if it fills up the house, you will not notice it, and you will just pass out and you will die. Alright, so some things like that to keep in mind, as well as if you have any medication that you need or anyone in your house needs, make sure you have enough of it for at least a week or so, in case it is not very easy to get out after the storm passes. There could very well be fallen trees that are blocking roads and major intersections. Power lines could be knocked down. So there's going to be a lot of that I'm expecting, as well as, again, flooded roads. That is going to be a completely other issue that I'm gonna have to need to address. There will be flooded roads. So you will need to wait for crews to come up and clean the roads before it is safe to leave and travel. That's really what I wanted to mainly talk about, was really about what we're looking at with the storm and what we are going to be seeing mainly with the storm and how to prepare for it. Wind, rain, thunder, temperature. Really, I've kind of covered all the things that I really wanted to cover. Don't really need to look at the radar yet. We will be talking about this in the coming days. There goes the forecast. But again, we looked at this forecast here. We do want to look at some others because there's a lot here, which particularly look just at this portion, just Ireland. It's just this portion of the British Isles. So as we look at this, let's go back a little bit, if it will let me. There we go. So, not a whole lot, but then you can see that storm coming. And as we take a look at these winds, this is not wind. Back to wind. You can see the winds do start to increase relatively quickly. Now, this storm isn't going to just stall out. This one particular model looks like it has the strongest of the winds really remain offshore. And as it does appear to make landfall, now we do see 100, 120, 130 km/h winds offshore, but along the immediate majority of the coast and portions of southern Ireland, again, there you go, you're seeing 80 to 90 km/h wind gusts. Are wind gusts an option? It is. I'm just on wind, not even wind gusts. In terms of how strong these winds could be gusting, we could be dealing with pretty strong wind gusts across a portion of all of Ireland. We're talking over 100, 130, 140, 150 km/h wind gusts are possible. I mean, look at these. Look at some of these wind gusts. Over 200 km/h wind gusts. And this is something we could be dealing with, particularly right along the coastline. 150 plus km/h wind gusts are possible with the storm. So again, if you live in this area and you know that your house, or you think your house may not be set up to code to handle this, and there's leaving the country, going, you have the ability to evacuate to France, and you have family there, do so, if that is certainly a possibility. If not, hunker down. The one last thing I did want to talk about before I ended this, which I thought was pretty cool, is yes, the South did get quite a bit of a snowstorm yesterday, including Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, as well as the Carolinas. And those are not clouds that you see over those states. That is snow. That is, you can see from space, which I thought was something that I would show you. Yes, you can in fact see there is so much snow in Florida that there is a pretty good amount of reflection out into space, which I thought was pretty darn cool. Throughout the day today, you will see it melt, and probably a majority of it all is going to melt today. So I thought that was a pretty cool picture to see. But yeah, guys, that's it. This is your latest update on Storm Éowyn. We will continue to give you all updates, and probably going into Friday, do some sort of, hoping some sort of a live stream, but I do have work, so we'll come up with, figure that out, and we will make a post on YouTube about it. But that is it for today. Stay safe out there. As always, this is the Hurricane Watch Team, your source of weather information. As always, peace out.